Oh, well, welcome back to Carnage Unleashed. Sorry, I didn't know how to do the countdown this time. Um, but got Clayton here with me. How you guys? How you doing tonight? Oh, he froze a little bit.
Come on, internet. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
Here you. Yep, I can hear you.
Cool.
Yeah, how you doing today?
All right, I apologize,
Looks like
ladies and gentlemen. I'm having a little bit of a struggle with my Wi-Fi right now, but attempting to get that resolved. But it's getting warm finally. Summertime is upon us, so enjoying that for sure while I can, and just ready to jump back in this weekend. We've had a bit of a longer layoff, which has been cool. We've been upgrading our equipment and things like that, so definitely excited to get back to it.
Yeah, no, this weekend we'll be starting get back into the swing of things, right? And really be able to
Absolutely.
get ringside again. And oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun time now, especially ramping up with the new equipment. So it should be really fun, and hopefully this product's even better for you guys.
Absolutely.
Kev, just want to let the audience know Kev will be here a little bit later. Right now, just me and Clayton holding it down. We had some UFC fights this past weekend: Barboza versus Murphy. What did you think of it?
Overall, it was just kind of a regular fight night at the Apex, I guess. There were a couple of quality decisions. Lerone Murphy, is that how you say his first name? I don't know.
I think so.
But he showed up and showed out. Barboza is one of the more battle-tested guys in the UFC. We talked about that last week. So you're getting a quality opponent when you draw his name. So I thought that he looked great, dominated across the scorecards. Barboza won one round on one judge's scorecards, and then the other two were 50-45s.
Yeah, I think that ref took into account for that up kick at the end of that first and gave it to Barboza, but I thought for me it was a clean sweep on that. Um, yeah, I didn't know Murphy's background. I didn't know like he had a tough background. He got shot and like in his throat too. I was watching
Yeah,
like the embedded series or something, and it was saying all that. I'm like, wow, that is a resilient human being.
yeah. You don't bounce back from getting shot in a sport like this and
Right?
like be as successful as that.
Yeah, and he
So
looks really well, and especially against Barboza. I feel like this was just like, all right, we're gonna enter you in that top 15 and see how you handle yourself. You've been on a tear. Let's see how you handle a combat veteran like Barboza, and he showed out.
he did. He did, which is a little disappointing seeing. I think that we're kind of nearing the end of Barbosa's tenure. He's
I
like
think
4
so
and
too.
6 in his last 10, and the worst part about him is he's 38. You
Yeah,
you don't see like guys lasting that long after 35. So it's
yeah,
almost only a matter of time. He got outstruck 259-79, ladies and gentlemen.
whew.
He took a beating, and like I said, he's been through a lot of tough guys in the past.
Yeah. He's been through some wars, like,
Those
and
strikes will add up.
yeah, at the end of it, you saw him like kind of just. It looked like that look of defeat, and hung his head like, man, you know what? I think it's time. My time's gonna be up here. That's what I got that feeling from him at the end of that fifth round, and he's just sitting there up against Cage. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be done.
Yeah, I bet that he headlines a lot of fight nights. I bet they'll give him one more fight night, but man, all these guys that we kind of grew up with are starting to exit the sport. You know, Tony Ferguson's on his way out. Dustin Poirier's got one last shot here in a couple weeks. Connor's got only 2 fights left on his contract with the UFC. We're already starting to see some guys go, like Matt Brown retired a couple weeks ago. So and who knows what John Jones is planning. So
yeah, I saw him tweet something like it was like Tom versus I forgot who he was fighting.
Curtis Blades.
Yeah, Curtis Blades, and it's like Tom versus Curtis Blades equals 0 championships, and then he like added up his belts and Stipe's belts, and he's like, oh, for a courtesy for them, I didn't add my interim belt that I won. I was like, good Lord, come on. I get it, but at the same time, he is holding up that division, and
yeah,
like everybody wants to see heavyweight sling, and he's just holding it up and making it stupid.
I understand the whole I'm injured part. Like, obviously, you can't really help that, but like, you cannot be talking as much shit as he is right now for no, like, with 0 title defenses. Like, you beat a guy that was like basically handpicked for you. I would argue in the top 5, that was probably the least challenging fight that he would have had, because all you got to do is take him down.
Yeah.
Like, Francis Ngannou took him down, no problem. Him being Cyril Gane. So we've only seen like 2.5 minutes of heavyweight John Jones. We don't really know what he's made of yet.
Exactly.
But well, Wade, do you have something?
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say moving on. Let's go back to the beginning of the card. You had Vanessa Demo. I'm not even going to pronounce it. I'm going to say it short. Vanessa Demo versus Emily Ducote. That was a split decision. I didn't catch that one. I kind of came in right after the prelims. Did you watch any
I
of
did
the
too.
Yeah. Whoa, yeah, that's a name.
I got nothing.
Guy from China, Alante Gali.
Just a first name, ladies and gentlemen. There is no last name here.
There is no last name. Versus Rodriguez. That was a unanimous decision for Rodriguez. See if there's any other notable kind of names.
Abus Magomedov, 30-26s across the board against Warley Alves. That one kind of stuck out to me. Omar Sy, brother of the PFL guy who had that crazy spinning back kick knockout last year. He improved to 10-0 with a first-round choke.
Nice.
And then to open up the main card, the Michael Johnson of women's MMA, Angela Hill, secured a guillotine in the second round. The reason I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is like you never know what you're gonna get.
That is a perfect description.
Like, the guy could get out there and like beat Brock Lesnar on his best day and then lose to me on his worst day. So
she came out look good. She got performance of the night, got that submission.
I thought it was well deserved. This, like I said, this was a fairly thin fight night card name value wise. So
yeah.
Adrian Yanez knocked out Vinicius Salvador. That's what we're gonna go with. Vinicius. Temba Garimbo beat Ramiz. Yeah, I got nothing there. Garimbo won via unanimous decision, and then arguably one of the best names in MMA, Chaos Williams, scored a beautiful knockout 90 seconds into the fight against Carlston Harris.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Give me a better name than Chaos. Like, come on.
Yep. I think so what I heard is his original name was like Carlos or something like that, and then at like age 8 or like 13, somewhere in between there, he got his name legally changed to Chaos.
That's good.
So they knew something.
But he's been in the UFC for a minute now. Debuted in 2020 with a knockout of Alex Morano. Lost a close split decision to Randy Brown in the Oliveira versus Gaethje card. overall, I really like. I don't know. Chaos Williams is just. I think he was scheduled to fight Cowboy at one point. Let me double check. But I just wish he would finish a little bit more. His last one before this one, his last 2 wins before that were decisions. No, I lied. Never mind. Yeah, he just was on the wrong end of a split decision, I think, against Randy Brown. I thought that he did enough to beat him, but such is the sport of MMA. So I'm trying to pull up his Tapology really quick. There we go. His nickname is the Ox Fighter.
The Ox Fighter. Interesting.
That's an interesting one. Huh. No, I guess not. I must have just been losing my mind there. This guy had 14 amateur fights. That's kind of wild.
Wow. That is wild. You don't really hear that.
Not that many.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
not for MMA, at least.
Yeah. In boxing, that's a little bit more common.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing any name value from the regional scene, but hey, with a name like Chaos, like you're gonna hang around. That's just the name of the game in this sport.
Oh, for sure. Be very marketable if he keeps knocking people out.
Yeah. Before we move into our Greer Promotions card, there is another boxing match that was announced last week that I would like to discuss. Uncle Chael is putting his undefeated combat sports record on the line against Anderson the Spider Silva. This is going to be, I believe it's in Brazil. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
But these two have shared the octagon twice, with Silva taking both, one by KO, one by submission. So we'll see. It's just another example of MMA guys dipping into boxing for a payday, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's on June 15th in Sao Paulo.
Hey, there's a place or a name that we both got right. Perfect.
I know. I know. Yeah. I'll watch it.
Oh, heck yeah. Why not?
Right.
Especially if it's free.
Yeah. Speaking of boxing, did you see Tyson Fury lost?
You got beat. You got beat. Usyk did enough in 2 of the judges' opinions and walked away with a split decision. Knocked Fury down in round 9. That's impressive. Fury's a big dude, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the past couple of years that he's been in charge. So Alexander Usyk is the first unified heavyweight champion in the 4 belts era. First undisputed heavyweight champ since Lennox Lewis in 1999. It's a decent time to be a boxing fan. The Saudis have enough money to where they can actually like figure out and navigate all the TV deals and stuff. So
yeah,
they're somewhat putting together most of the big fights. The one that I don't think that they'll even remotely manage to do is Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
There's such a size difference now. Canelo's fought fairly comfortably at light heavyweight. So I just don't see Crawford having the size really to do that unless if Canelo cut to like 157 pounds, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I saw him talking about that fight and just saying like he just doesn't have the resume to fight him or something like that, and it's a lose-lose for him. He beats him. Oh, he was too small to
right.
really put up a challenge, and then if he loses, and then he's lost to the smaller fighter, like he's like, it's a lose-lose for me.
There's no upside for Canelo here unless they offered both of them like $300 million, which that might sound crazy, ladies and gentlemen, but you got to remember, like these people are sitting on a massive oil reserve, so I think they could have the money to do it. I just don't think he could do it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Before we jump in there, I wanted to also like review UFC 302?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so let's look what this card has to offer. Early prelims. I don't really know.
Mickey
Anyone.
Gall fought CM Punk one time. That's the only thing that I know about these guys.
Yeah. CM Punk. Kev would have a heyday if he heard that.
Kev would be losing his mind right now. Yeah, his third pro fight was a submission win against CM Punk in Cleveland, over in Cleveland. The only card ever to be held over in Cleveland. But he also holds a submission win over once superstar prospect Sage Northcutt. So that's kind of an interesting take there, but he's the only guy I really recognize from these prelims.
Yeah.
At least the early ones.
Then you got the prelims. Nico Price. I like watching him. He's a wild fighter.
Yeah, he is.
He's just so unorthodox.
And he's fighting Alex Morano. That'll be a fun fight. That's a good way to open the prelims part.
Yeah.
Alex Morano is a little bit more balanced, but we'll see. I don't think Nico Price has fought since Robbie Lawler knocked him out to send him off into the sunset. So
yeah, I don't think so. I haven't seen him in a while.
Then Phil Rowe versus Jake Matthews is the next one. Phil Rowe fought. I know he fought on that UFC Orlando card that I watched a while ago. I'm trying to think of what his last fight would have been. Yeah, he beat Nico Price on that card. Is coming off a split decision loss to Neil Magny, so he's looking to get back into the win column. And then Jake Matthews, he's an Australian guy. It's a good time to be an Australian MMA fan, man, especially at welterweight. You got obviously Jake Matthews. Excuse me. He's 19-7, which isn't crazy impressive, but he's been around for a minute. And then, of course, you have Jack Della Maddalena, who just broke into the top 5. So,
yeah,
good time to be an Australian MMA fan for sure. And then Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. Grant Dawson is coming off of a knockout loss to King Bobby Green. So, we'll see if he can bounce back. Joe Solecki is a jiu-jitsu guy. 8 submission wins. Coming off of a knockout loss against Drakkar Klose on that Dariush versus Sarukian card. Has a win over Jim Miller. Fought Jared Gordon once. So he's got a semi-decent resume, I guess. But we'll see. The UFC is really trying to find fresh blood at lightweight. And they wanted Grant Dawson to be that guy until he lost to Bobby Green. So
yeah, they were really pushing him for. And then he got
knocked out in 30 seconds.
Yep.
such as the MMA marketing machine, right?
Yep.
But moving into our featured prelim, Cesar Almeida making a quick turnaround, coming off of a knockout win over Ohio's own Dylan Budka. He's fighting Roman Kopylov. Is that how you say that?
That's how I would say it. He's
Russian guy, 12-3.
He's really pretty good. He's pretty good. I watched his last fight. He's got, obviously Russian, got great wrestling, good stand up.
11 knockout wins of 12 total wins. So 11 to 12 wins are by knockout.
So decent stand up.
Yeah, this one will be a slugfest, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know, Cesar Almeida beat Alex Pereira in kickboxing one time. So obviously he's got some pretty heavy hands. It'll be interesting to see how he does. But pay-per-view portion, we got Randy Brown. He's been around for a minute now too.
He has.
He's fighting some, as Derek Lewis would say, taxi driver that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, I don't even.
I've never heard of this dude.
Never heard of him. He's coming off a draw.
Great start.
Huh.
But Randy Brown's won 4 out of his last 5, and the only loss there was to Jack Della Maddalena, who's on a tear right now. So I think we can justify that. Moving forward, Jalaton Almeida. I'm pretty sure his last fight was when he just wrestled Derek Lewis to a decision against Alexander Romanov.
Yep, I think so.
Romanov, who was his last fight, got knocked out by Alexander Volkov. Before that, Mason Tabira beat him with a majority decision, but he's coming off of a knockout win, it looks like. So interested to see how he does. Or no, unanimous decision win. My fault, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm interested to see how he does against a guy who's just going to come in there and try and like jiu-jitsu wrestle you.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, America's favorite fighter, Kevin Trailblazer Holland, a personal favorite of mine as well, I might add. Making his return. It looks like this is going to be at 85. He kind of floats between 85 and 70. He likes to fight a lot. He likes to make money. He doesn't really care what weight class he's in. Fighting some Polish guy who he's got a handful of fights in the UFC. Coming off of a submission loss to Michelle Pereira on the UFC 299 card, which Kevin Holland was also on. So both guys making not really a quick turnaround, but we'll say a timely turnaround. How about that?
Yeah. Good to put it.
And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, America's champ is making his return to the octagon. Sean Tarzan Strickland versus Paulo Secret Sauce Costa. This will be good.
I think this is going to be a barn burner for sure. They're just going to be throwing hands and getting at it.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure most of you know my views on Paulo Costa, but for those of you who don't, I think he's a fake UFC fighter. He does not hold a victory over anybody who's currently in the UFC. He has had 5 fights in 6 years now. His last fight, 5 fights. In 2019, he decisioned Yoel Romero. In 2020, he got knocked out by Izzy, challenging for the belt. In 2021, he got out-wrestled by Marvin Vettori. In 2022, he beat a 39-year-old, I think it was 38 maybe, 38-year-old Luke Rockhold.
Yep.
Decision. And then earlier this year, he got beat by Robert Whittaker, a unanimous decision. So he does not hold a win over anybody currently in the UFC.
Nope, he doesn't get the wins, but he'll be in there throwing.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. But on the flip side of that, Sean Strickland's been super active since coming back from his quad surgery after a motorcycle accident. Since 2020, he has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fights. So this will be fight number 12 since 2020, since coming back from a 2-year layoff. So he's staying active and he's fighting the top guys like Dricus du Plessis, Izzy, Jared Cannonier, Alex Pereira. Brendan Allen is another guy that people are saying could be challenging for the belt here soon. So
yeah.
And then moving into of course, everybody's favorite I would say Dustin Poirier is probably one of the most beloved fighters in MMA history to not have a belt yet.
I would go that route. Yeah. He's been around for a very long time. He's been fighting since he turned like 18.
Yeah.
In the UFC.
He has been around, like Wade said, he's been around forever. He's really fought the who's who. I would argue he might have the best resume of a guy who's never held a belt.
I think so. He's Connor three times.
Connor 3 times. Korean Zombie. Max Holloway. Let's keep rolling up. Who else we got in here? Cub Swanson, Bobby Green, Michael Johnson, Jim Miller, Eddie Alvarez twice, Anthony Pettis, Justin Gaethje twice, Habib, that war that he had with Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, and then a guy literally nicknamed the God of War, Bentois Saint-Denis. So,
and KO'd him.
Yeah, knocked him out. Some people can say, "Oh, he knocked him out with an asterisk." He still beat the guy. Like at the end of the day, he got in there, fought his fight, and won. So,
who do you think is going to win this one?
Man, dude, it's hard to pick against a Dagestani in any setting. You know what I mean?
Like, yep, I agree.
Poirier has such great hands, but Islam is too good of despite Poirier has like average takedown defense, I would say. Even if he had like above average takedown defense, you're gonna get taken down by this guy. It's going to happen. So I really have a hard time picking against Islam right now.
You betting Dustin Poirier throws a guillotine?
Yeah, I bet he does. Fun fact, he has no career wins with a guillotine.
Shoot. He throws up like 8 of them.
Yeah, let's see how many submission attempts he had. I bet I could pull that up. But ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who missed his last fight, he dropped for, well, we're about to find out. He dropped for at least 4 guillotines, I would say. And that's being conservative.
That was. His coach was telling him, quit doing the guillotine. He's like, I can get this.
4 submission attempts, yeah, and I bet all 4 of those were guillotines.
Oh, absolutely.
Like come on, dude. Like you're an old dog at this point. You can't be trying to teach yourself too many new tricks. That might be a little bit of a hot take. I get you got to do what you got to do to win, but this is it for Poirier.
This is his last shot.
This is it. If he doesn't win, he probably retires. I would like to see him like fight Colby Covington, make a little money on his way out, but
yeah, he's been pushing that fight for a while.
Yeah, I would. I just think the press conference would be funny. Oh, if I fight Colby, it's on site. It's going to be in the street. Why? Make some money.
Yeah.
Like street fighting, but MMA guys just never made sense. Like, what do you mean you're going to fight him outside for no money? You might as well get paid hundreds of thousands, if not that. You could maybe convince that fight to headline a pay-per-view. You might be able to do that, at least a co-main.
Yeah. They would have to
pay-per-view points.
If they sell the hatred, that could be a pay-per-view event, and they can main card that.
Right. And I'm thinking if they can main event Colby versus Jorge Masvidal, like off of basically the same thing, like these guys were roommates, now they hate each other, yada yada yada. I think they can do the same thing with Poirier.
Oh, for sure. I think it'd be a better fight too.
Yeah,
way better fight.
Man, dude, I wish that Jorge Masvidal would have fought Dustin at one point at 170. The UFC could have done so much more with the star power that Jorge Masvidal had.
I know. I felt he was really underutilized. Like
I would 100% agree. In 2019, you're telling me him versus Conor McGregor isn't like the biggest fight in MMA history, pretty much?
Right.
Let's look at his last post Ben Askren. So post Ben Askren, he fought Nate Diaz for the inaugural BMF belt. Dr. Stoppage, which state of New York, y'all screwed that one up, but that's one guy's opinion. Took a short notice fight against Kamaru for the belt. I think he took it on 6 days notice, maybe. Flew out to Abu Dhabi and challenged him. Ended up losing a UD. Everybody's seen the viral knockout in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
So that was also against Usman, and then lost a decision to Covington and lost a very obvious decision to Gilbert Burns. So, gosh, they could have done so much more with him, man. They really could have.
Yeah, he's an OG in the fight world. I mean, he was back when YouTube was just
Yeah.
becoming a thing, and you had Kimbo Slice on the Backyard Brawls, and that's
Yep.
where Masvidal came to be.
Yeah, fought pretty much. He fought a lot of the who's who guys of the early days. Has a knockout win over Joe Lozon, who's kind of like a lesser known Cowboy Cerrone for those of you who don't know. Paul Daly, another name that is a little bit older, challenged Gilbert Melendez for the Strikeforce welterweight title. Michael Chelsea, he has a submission win over him, which is kind of impressive.
That is.
James Krause, Ali Aquinta, Benson Henderson, Ross Pearson, Jake Ellenberger, Cerrone, Damian Maya, Wonder Boy, and Darren Till. You know, that's a quality.
That was Darren Till one was beautiful because he knocked Darren Till out, and that was at the hype of Darren Till.
Yeah.
I think he was undefeated at that time too, and UFC was pushing him to be the next champ, and he just came in there and knocked his ass out.
Man, the fall of Darren Till needs to be studied. It really does. Speaking of, it's kind of funny that he comes up. He's boxing now. He's fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. on the Tyson Paul undercard. So he's finally returning to competition. He asked to be released from his UFC contract. I know that Mike Perry's kind of been talking to him about a bare knuckle thing, but I don't see Darren Till doing that. That might be one guy's opinion, but I don't see him doing that.
I don't see him doing that either.
But Darren Till's had kind of an interesting run. He started training in Muay Thai, and after he got stabbed in the back at a bar, and it missed one of the main arteries in his chest, the knife did, by 3 millimeters or something stupid like that. And the doctor said, hey, you're lucky to be alive right now. So his coach advised him to go to Brazil, which he did. And a lot of his early career was in Brazil. He has kind of a Muay Thai style. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of his first 7 wins were by knockout. His only problem was defensively, he just ate a lot of shots. His striking and grappling defense wasn't great, but
yeah,
he kind of came onto the scene right as Bisping was getting out. So the UFC was looking for another British superstar, basically. And they sign him. He gets a main event slot. He knocks out Donald Cerrone first. Then he headlines a card in Liverpool against Wonder Boy. Walks away with a unanimous decision victory. For those of you who haven't seen it, watch his walkout for that fight. Card's in his hometown of Liverpool. Walked out to Sweet Caroline. The entire arena is singing. It was cool. Definitely worth looking into.
Definitely, for sure.
Then he has a submission loss to Tyron Woodley for the belt.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot that. So yeah, he lost against Tyrod.
Then
they got knocked out. Yeah, they got knocked out by Masvidal after that.
Yep, and that was again. I'm pretty sure that was in Liverpool too, but they tried. It was in London, so same thing.
Yeah,
fight me, British MMA fans, fight me. But headlined another card in the UK and got. He didn't get knocked out. He got flatlined.
Yeah, he did
in his hometown. Jumped up to middleweight after that. He had a really hard time cutting weight. He missed weight against Thompson by 4 pounds. I saw a video of him once literally crawling out of the sauna trying to cut weight because he couldn't make it. So he did the smart thing and jumped up to middleweight. Won a split decision over Kelvin Gastelum. And then 3 straight losses, but it's not like he's fighting cans here.
No, he's Robert Whittaker, Darren Brunson, yeah,
and DDP, who's currently the champ.
Yeah, so he's fighting and losing against high level people. It's not like he's just tomato can losses.
Right. He's had problems with injuries. It's been his shoulders. I know that's been a big problem. He tore his ACL in his last fight.
in that cutting weight. Also, speaking of cutting weight, I think the UFC could probably implement this too, just like for fighter safety and stuff. And I bet you see a lot better, healthier fighters and a lot better fights if you put in like a hydration term thing. Because I saw one championship, they do you have to make weight, you have to have pass the hydration test. So you're not doing these like you see some fighters are just like willing to just die by stripping all their weight off of them, and they're cramping up and like crawling to the scale. Do a little bit of fighter safety there. Do a little bit of a hydration test in there, and people will not be weighing 195 fighting at 55.
There is a way to beat hydration tests though, because I looked into this too at one point. There was a doctor who did this to himself to like prove his theory. If you drink distilled water, like a gallon of it, and just don't pee, and then you do your normal weight cut, like let's say you're Darren Till, you're walking around at like 205, 210, and you're cutting weight down to 70. If he just drank a gallon of distilled water, didn't pee, went through his weight cut, you would pass the hydration test.
Wow. Did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
That is wild.
That's even more dangerous because then there's going to be a devil's advocate no matter what you do. If you leave it as is, we're going to keep seeing the same thing, right? Guys are going to keep we saw it a couple weeks ago with, I think he was a flyweight, missed weight by like 3 pounds, looked like he was dead. Like you're going to have that, or you could potentially have guys doing an even more dangerous thing and trying to cheat a weight cut. That is not good. You cannot have guys cheating weight cuts.
Yeah.
There's just they have to have some kind of test.
I know.
Right?
You think that with the advanced technology we have out there, they can't find something?
There's got to be something out there for sure. But to kind of circle back, the fall of Darren Till needs to be studied in the history books. After beating Wonder Boy, he's lost 5 of 6.
Yeah, he got oddly close. He got oddly close to Hamzat. Yeah,
that was like Hamzat reached out to him and was like, "Hey man, like come train with me." And he was in. There's a really iconic photo of Hamzat sitting on the cage waiting for Gilbert Burns to come out, and Darren Till is standing next to him on the cage. Darren Till helped corner him for that fight. So it's just like that's such a random combination of people.
Little side mission there for him. Like, hey, let's get best buds with the next up and coming phenom.
He is also headlining the first UFC card over in Saudi Arabia. He is the one who's fighting Bobby Knuckles over there. That's shaping up to be a pretty solid card too. You got Volkov versus Sergey Pavlovich, who are teammates and really don't want to fight each other. So I'm interested to see if that one stays. You got Kelvin Gastelum versus D-Rod. Johnny Walker's on this card. Jared Gordon. It's turning up to be a fairly solid card.
Yeah, it's looking like it's looking like it's gonna be a solid.
For a fight night, can't complain.
Yeah, that's gotta suck being teammates having to fight. I mean, when you're 3-5 in the heavyweight division, and the heavyweight's not doing jack shit, kind of get stuck.
Yeah, there's nobody else to fight. Thanks, John Jones. But it's just, man, heavyweight's just such a mess right now. John Jones either needs to be stripped or fight. I know. Figure it out.
He's healthy now. Make him fight.
You're healthy. I want to fight Stipe. Yeah, sure you do, dude. Sure, man. Whatever. Gosh.
Oh, it gets on my nerves.
But I think that's pretty much everything with MMA.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. That's going into this weekend. As we said, we're jumping back off in into the swing of things, we got Greer Promotions this weekend. What's this weekend? I don't know my days.
May 25th.
25th, yes. I thought today was Tuesday all day today. May 25th. May 25th, yes. I got the 4 pro fights. So our main event's going to be Romel versus Ramsey. Beard, yeah.
Coming in with identical records, both 1-0-1. So 2 guys just looking to keep building, pretty much.
Yeah. Romel just coming off a KO victory from his last fight on Greer. Yeah, it was a nasty body shot. I remember that now because nasty body shot. So that's the fight to be looking out for. You got our boy Lino fighting Kendall Moore at the co-main event at 115.
Yep, 2 little guys, man. Kendall Moore is currently he's sitting at 0-3, but he's only 20, so he's looking to climb the ranks still. Lino's been around forever, obviously. Started in MMA, now is a pro kickboxer, holds the Carnage Media 135-pound title over there, and is now a pro boxer. He's been on weight for multiple days now. This is his first fight ever where he's like not giving up any size. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's going to be basically the same size.
Yep. Finally fighting at his weight class, fighting somebody his weight, and we'll see what he does. He's knocking people out heavier than him. So,
yep.
Lino got hands.
Before he decided to move into boxing, obviously he was our kickboxing champion. We were having a really hard time finding him an opponent because nobody wanted to fight him.
Yeah, like nobody did.
Nobody wanted to get in there and fight him. So I'm happy that he has an opponent at least now, because like an opponent that's his size. Because even then, when we found him somebody, he had to jump up to 35 instead of staying down at 25. So, But our third pro fight of the evening is Darius Carr versus James Wesley. Darius Carr is also 0-3, but he is only 19, so he's looking to get better, looking to continue to move up the ranks. And then James Wesley, it will be his opponent that night. Give me 1 second here.
He is 3-3.
So a little bit more experience. He's 38. That's kind of a wild age difference right there.
That is wild.
38. And then to open up our pro fights, we have Joe. Yeah, I'm not even going to try there.
Zubleski.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah, it's something like that. He trained out Demolition long time ago, back with Wolfman, Zach, a co-founder of Carnage Media. They trained together a lot. I actually, years ago was going into Demolition, sparred with Joe. He little guy, he's like 145, but dude is like got so much energy, and he hits his angles really well. So this is gonna be a good fight because he's fighting Jeremy Balboa, who's a dog in and of himself. Yeah. So I think that's gonna be a pretty good fight.
Him and Jeremy both come from MMA backgrounds, both bringing 0-1 pro records into the ring. So very interested to see how this goes. Like I said, sometimes, especially on the regional scene, you'll see guys train both boxing and MMA. That's a relatively common thing. So definitely excited to see Jeremy Balboa get back in there. The last time he was out was in December. So it's been almost 6 months since we've seen him. He had that split decision win over Marcus Crawford at that Renegade card we covered. Go check that out on YouTube. But yeah, very interested to see what Showtime brings into the ring this time.
Yeah, so that rounds out like all the pros. The other first half is going to be all amateur bouts. I don't have the full lineup on that, but keep a lookout. We'll be posting that here shortly. So it's this Saturday, May 25th. We're getting back into it.
And as Conor McGregor once said, ladies and gentlemen, buy that pay-per-view twice.
2 times.
2 times.
Yeah, but
we're very, very excited to be back for sure. Sure.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Kev's not here to wrap things up with the wrestling minute. So you guys are going to have to be on the lookout for that next week. Yeah, I think that rounds out our episode today. Appreciate all you guys tuning in with us. Clayton, where can they find you at?
You guys can find me on my personal social medias at cscalina12 on Twitter and Instagram. Then follow my personal podcast, the Hot Take Sports Podcast, at Hot Take Sports 16 on all of your social media platforms. Wade, where can they find you?
Yes, they can find me at Carnage Media PPV on all social media platforms. We're very active on Facebook, YouTube. You can find all our past fights. Watch us here at Carnage Unleashed Wednesdays at 7:30. And we are on Twitter, Twitch, all of the above. Anything you can think of, we're pretty much on it. Stay tuned to like and follow, and you can find what we're going to be getting into this summer. When we kick off this Saturday. So stay tuned and watch what we got coming on. And so, as again, I appreciate everybody out for watching. We appreciate you so much for support, and stay tuned.
Yeah. See you all next week, 7:30. Hopefully we'll have a full crew this time. But until then, we will see you all next time.